to cut this particular style of dress, you need your fabric or your pattern. So what I want to do today is using paper pattern to cut this particular drape dress. It's a one size fit, and normally you should use a stretch fabric. So if you're using a stretch fabric, you want to fold the fabric along the line that it stretches. So you want to pull to make sure you get the way it stretches. So once you've done that, you want to fold your fabric. But because this is a paper pattern, I'm not going to be folding. So I'm just going to use this side, the edge of the paper as my fold. So if it's on fabric, you fold into 4 or into 2 if you want to cut individually. But with the paper pattern, I'm going to be cutting from that side, so you can transfer this onto your fabric to cut. So you need the length, okay? To be able to cut this, you need the length, you need the length of the dress, you need your shoulder to sleeve measurement. That means from the center of your nape, your back of your neck, all the way to your wrist. You also need your hip measurement, and you need to also know at what point your drape on your dress is going to, end. And you need your cuff measurement. So imagining this is the pattern, or this is your fabric. We're going to start measuring from this point. So get your tape, and if stretch, you need to also know how much it stretches. So it's going to be a thick fabric that stretches and that can drape to make this fitted drape kimono batwing sleeve dress. So for the neck, I would suggest that you make it depending on how wide you want it, but 3.5 inches is fine, okay, for the neckline. Then you want to get the depth, which is about 3 centimeters, 1 inch. That's for the back. So you want to get your neck measurement, which is about 3 centimeters deep and 3.5 inches wide. So that is it. And on this same paper, I can also do the front neck measurement. So for the depth, it's going to be 8 or 7 inches. Then you connect that all the way to that same point. So you have both the front and the back for the neckline. So the next thing you want to do is to measure from the top of the fold to where the drape is going to end, and that should be about 20 or 21 inches, like so. So somewhere there, you can get your ruler and you measure that. So that's around your hip line where the drape is going to end. So hip line, okay. So the next thing we want to measure is from the nape, the center of your neck, all the way to your sleeve. So it depends on how long you want it, but because you want to be able to pull it in, it has to get all the way to your wrist. So that, I will tell you, is about 25 inches. Okay, so you get that and you measure that. So I'm just going to rule the line. So this would be the entire fabric. So that is where your sleeve ends. So this was the bottom of your dress as well. So you need to take measurements for that as well. So if your fabric stretches a lot, it needs to be smaller. But if it doesn't stretch too much, you need to, make sure you cut it in a way that you can walk and it's not too snug. So normally I do 10 inches for the bottom of the base, and I use the whole extension of the fabric like this to cut my batwing drape fitted dress. So once you've established this, you get the bottom of the dress. This is the bottom, this is the hip, and this is the shoulder. Okay, and that's the neckline. So that's for the back, and this for the front neckline. Yeah. So the next thing you want to do is to create a shoulders slope, which I'm going to create. So I'm going to take about 4 centimeters off at that point, or 4 inches, sorry. So you create your shoulder slope like so. So that's a shoulder slope. Then the next thing you want to also do is, your cuff. So you create that about 8 inches. So now we're going to create our drape. So what we need to do, it's really very simple. So from this bottom point all the way to the hip, we're going to make it straight like so, and as it gets here, you now go like that. Okay, so that's your dress. This is how your dress should look, the pattern you're going to have. So you want to cut, so I'm going to cut. It's really straightforward, this drape dress. It's a one size fits, and you don't need that, you don't need zips. It's really very easy, pretty straightforward. So if you want to start a business and you don't want to worry yourself, you know, with the zips and the darts, it's a bit complicated, by all means you should go for styles like this. So once you've done that on your dress, you can cut the rest. So now you've created this. If your fabric is nice and soft, it's going to drape. We need to create now a cuff for that sleeve. So get your piece of paper for your pattern, or if it's your fabric you've got, then you need to cut as wide, the fabric as wide as you would like it. Then you're going to fold into your fabric. So normally I do like 4-5 inches, and you fold again. So that will going to be the cuff of your dress. So you won't even also need to worry about, you know, straight lines or the finishing being so good. So what you do with this bag is you open up, you close the sides like that. Okay, so you stitch along the edge. So when you stitched, you turn in, out, you open. Then after you've sewn the shoulder, you've joined the sides, you've done your neckline, your facing, you now add this to the sleeve and fold the bottom of your dress, and you are done. So to cut the facing is really very easy. If it's for the back facing, you cut the back facing first like that. Then you get your fabric, you place it. You know, if you want to cut your facing, always make sure you fold this into your fabric and you place this on the folded tip like that. So the folded part is the folded part, and you just cut around the neckline. So you just place. So once that is out, what you want to do is to cut this about 4 inches wide, like that. And then you have your facing. So that will be your facing. So you just stitch that all around, and it goes inside. So you do right side to right side, then you have your facing. And for the neckline, for the front, you do the same. You cut that. So this is using pattern to cut your drape dress, your tunic dress. Why I like this style is you can wear it all year round, depending on the kind of fabric that you use. So always go for every fabric in colder months, like for autumn and winter. So the same thing, folded edge, you cut along the neckline like so. It's pretty straightforward. And 4 inches as well, wide width for your facing. And it's a done deal. So for your facing, that's what you've got, like that. That will be your facing. So you stitch right side to right side and go in, and you'll get your dress ready. So that is how simple it is. So if you make styles like this, you can use different kind of fabrics, different textures. You can combine them. You can make them longer. You can make them shorter. You can do a lot of things with this. So if you're starting a new business and you're starting to sew for the first time, don't forget, it's always safer and easier to go with stretch fabric. And if you are worried about how you can sew stretch fabric, not to worry. I'm going to be doing a video to show you how you can manipulate easily stretch fabric, because if you don't know how to handle them, they could be a nightmare. So stay tuned on my channel, as I'm going to be bringing you more tips on how to get sewing and selling.